introduce to you the man of the hour, Tony.
Hello and welcome back to At the Gates. I am your host, a very damaged Tony. I am standing at the gates of Target Field, and it's just past 4:15. It's 4:20 to be exact. And if you can't tell, I am in a bit of pain. About half an hour ago, maybe a little bit more, I was biking from the parking ramp over and got really close to the bike area, and there is a metal strip that's in the ground, and I tried turning, and it turns out that I was right on that metal strip, and the front wheel, rather than gripping like the rest of the sidewalk and the rest of the time that I was biking, just kept going, and I fell down, smacked my chin, which really isn't that bad. I was expecting to be bleeding because I already split it open when I was younger and got stitches. But other than just a tiny specks of blood, no damage. But what is really hurting right now, as I try to move it a little bit, is my left elbow and lower arm. I pretty much landed solely on that. I can feel right on the elbow itself that it is quite puffy, so I don't know if it's really hurt because of all the inflammation that's going on in there, or I hope I didn't break anything. Hard to tell right now. This just kind of sucks, especially so close to the end of the season. Trying to put up one more big push before potentially the last game. I was thinking of going to the last Saturday as well, but I was actually kind of hoping that I'd put up a big game today so that I wouldn't have to. But now that's kind of all up in the air, and it also depends if this is a deeper and more severe injury than what I had thought. So I will leave it there. I am expecting an ice pack. Atlanta Jared is bringing it. That he is the best of friends. That is huge. I would try to go over there and get it myself, but I don't want to bike again, and quite honestly, moving just sucks. Even standing in place right here is tough. So we'll see how it goes tonight. Fingers crossed. I'm pretty sure I can get a couple, but if it keeps up like this, I might have to switch to wearing my glove on my right hand and try to do some weird ball hawking, something I've never done before. So we'll keep you posted. I'll try to get Jared on here, and we'll talk to you later. And we are back in the Champions Club. I am with
Atlanta Jared.
Soon to be Los Angeles Jared. Jared, what is the scenario right now at the baseball game?
It's top of the 10th inning. The game is tied because apparently the Twins decided 9 innings wasn't enough, and we'll just give Toronto a home run in the top of the 9th inning. And Toronto just hit a double, and there's no outs, right? One out. I didn't see it. I can't tell from the red dot or not. 1 out, and scoring position. It's not looking good right now. Grounder to the right side.
Advances to third.
Advances the runner to third, but we get the out, so that's 2. We've been good at holding off scoring tonight, but just that home run.
It's always the long balls that get you. What else have you noticed tonight? Do you want to say anything about my apparel, especially on the lower extremities?
Tony's finally wearing shoes, which didn't do him any good tonight because he wasn't able to chase any baseballs. So
why wasn't I able to chase balls?
Because somebody doesn't know how to ride a bicycle.
It's true. Update on that is that it feels much worse in the wrist area. Um, this wrist injury, I can tell you, is not a self-inflicted one like that. It is from an actual accident. There was no meat that was beaten or injured. Again, vegan. So, does that count?
Except for it was a one bicycle crash, so it's still quite the same kind of you did it to yourself kind of thing.
I still maintain that it's Target Field's fault, and I can show you tonight when we go out there. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Maybe we can ask security for the closed circuit TV recording so that we can put it on YouTube as like a funniest home videos kind of crash.
I'm sure they have it. They have. You said that they have cameras all over the place, anyways. So why not? Why not there? So what are? Oh, I was going to ask you about this. If we get to the point where sports is played between man and machine, like robots, one, how far away do you think that we are from that?
Well,
that type of technology, I should say.
Right. We have artificial intelligence. It's still being in various levels of development depending on what company and what type of artificial intelligence they're focusing on. I would say if they collectively got together and said, we're going to make sports playing robots, we could be like between 5 and 10 years away. But I don't think that kind of, not obviously that they would focus on it, but I don't think that that kind of conglomeration to make a robot in general like that would happen probably for the next 30 years, 40 years.
So you're saying maybe we're 30, 40 years out. Then we not get really to the ethics because it's not really an ethical thing, but like the rules of the game and the spirit of the game, do you think that we'll ever get to the point where we would accept robots in the field? Either where you have basically a robot league, or then the point where robots and humans play together or against each other.
A robot in the field would be incredible. To have the agility, I think agility would be the key factor that determines whether it makes it into the sport or not. Because I feel like pitching would be a no-brainer. Like that would be super easy to do. I feel like hitting would be sort of the next easiest one. And maybe just your generic fly ball catching. But to have a lot of the agility needed to play the game is what's going to be the big holdout. And so, like, a lot of those middle infielders, the situational stuff would be pretty easy for it to resolve and figure out what to do. But the agility in getting there, I'm a second baseman, I need to get to the base, or as a third baseman, I need to dive towards the line to snag that ball. Having that agility to get there is going to be the biggest hurdle.
Do you think humans would accept that, ever?
Yeah, the second question. Would humans accept that? It would be a tough pill to swallow, because once you can get a robot into that kind of position to play, then it's basically just like with jobs and all that kind of stuff. Like it's super. The next hurdle to overtake all of the positions on the field is that much smaller and can turn over really quick. So, can they accept it? Yes. Would they accept it? It would be a big fight, I think.
I also see it very tough because if you have a machine that basically has to do the same motions and is built exactly like a human that would have to do that, then it would be easier to accept. But if it's kind of a hodgepodge and you almost have like a rocket arm on it, then really all you're doing is programming the top speed that it can throw, because if you don't program that, then it could do unrealistic, inhuman type of things where it just wouldn't happen in a normal course of the game. So I don't know that it would
that's
happen.
A question. Do you throttle the robot then?
Yeah.
Because
And then is that a sport? Because that almost seems like predetermined. Oh, we have a max of 101.
Right.
Well, do you have a minimum? Do you embed some error logarithm in there and make sure that like every once in a while there's an error that pops up, or even what if the robot actually malfunctions and the ball is stuck in the arm?
And then at that point, it's becoming an automatic perfect game. And then what's the point of playing if every position player is a robot and it's just a perfect game every time? And even if the pitcher doesn't pitch a perfect game, the pitching robot doesn't pitch a perfect game, like it's still, you have infielders without errors basically, and it wouldn't be as entertaining. I think the human error, maybe that's why umpires are not taking over, because people want that human error, even though it's like, hey, even though we complain about it and we say we want that perfect strike, we want it, whatever's a strike, we want it to be called a strike, and if it's a ball, we want it to be called a ball. That's why we don't change it over, because we still secretly or subconsciously want that human error.
Of the four major sports, which do you think would be easiest to use robots for?
Ooh, that's a good question.
To me, I would personally say that I do think it could actually be baseball, because the downtime that each robot would have is pretty significant. You're not demanding that they work together all that much, so the computer behind it could be a little bit easier. You're not dealing with the jumping, you're not dealing with all that. Football would be too much, same with hockey, because you have a lot of force and a lot of hitting. And again, we go back to the throttle thing, because if a robot's huge and we don't have it look like a human but is something bigger, then you're going to have to throttle that back. Otherwise, you're going to kill a human. But how about you?
I think that hockey's tough, right? You got to do all that coordination stuff on skates now, right? Like that could be really good. But I would say baseball makes the most sense, I think, because it's more lateral movements than say football requires a lot more. Not to say that it's all lateral movements, right? But it's bye-bye Buxton with the home run.
All right, we're gonna end it there. Congratulations, Twins win. Twins win. Buxton walk-off. Twins win. And post-game recap. I am just about ready to park my car, and ended up I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Ended up tonight with 10 again, somehow. I'm really happy with that output, considering, there it goes, that my arm is pretty well mangled up. The wrist is not fun, and generally not a cool night for trying to snag baseballs. I'm glad that none were hit my way, because I really don't think I would have been able to catch any. There were a few that were tossed up to me during BP that were really, really tough on the arm. But can't complain too much. It was somewhat self-inflicted with the bike. But overall, like I said, good night. 10 balls and a pair of batting gloves, and very close I'm at 246 for the year. So I think that means that I only have one more game left unless they make the playoffs. So it's getting real. We're getting close to the end, and for good, for bad, 2017 is almost over, and I'm looking forward to doing some healing, doing some revitalization, because as much as it's been a fun year, it's also been a lot of driving, a lot of games, a lot of just energy spent. So with that, I will leave it. I hope that you have a very great night, and hopefully you will hear my voice one more time this year. Bye.